8500. The actual Student Rights and Responsibilities Handbook was serving as our policy, while the current procedure served as an overview of the handbook. So WASDA policy and procedures were review, and it makes more sense to adopt the policy in alignment with WASDA's recommended policy. So this is just a clarification.
I would say this is more of a housekeeping item. We've been treating essentially 3200P as if it were 3200. So a procedure, although one approved by the board on an annual basis, unconnected to a district policy. So we felt it was important that we had a policy of some general nature to anchor 3200P to. So that's, I would see this more as a housekeeping item.
Any questions or discussion from the board?
And this is first reading. Okay.
Yes. All right. Seeing none, move us to the next agenda item, which is the first reading of board policies number 8361, use of district-owned equipment and instructional materials, and 8410, records management and retention. Again, first reading of the policies, which did contain some updates. Any questions or points of discussion from the board? No? All right, seeing none. Move along to the next agenda item, which is the first reading of board policy number 8500, assistance in providing certain goods and services to students and patrons. This is being submitted as a first reading with, as a reaffirmation to the board. So any questions or discussion from the board? No? All right, seeing none, we will move along on the agenda. Next up on your board reports and communication is new business. So Director Smith, would you at this time like to bring forth your question about communicating with the city of Woodinville?
Yeah, so I'm trying to find the right words. So I'm, I guess, surprised is the word, and I guess we haven't heard about it until, well, the board just heard about it today, 4:15 or whatever. So yeah, it's something, you know, I and others have been pushing for impact fees to be collected. It makes sense, and since like I think 2013, and so it's just trying to find out what's going on, have the conversation, and who the appropriate parties are. So I'm not aware of that because it's so new, but I certainly don't want it to, you know, I think talking is a really good thing to find out what's going on and where people are at to come to the best resolution and quickly.
And I would agree with that. I think I did report a month or so ago that I did meet with the new city manager in Woodinville and discuss the fact that there hasn't been the level of contact that I think there probably should be between the board, the governing bodies of the city and the school district. And he's obviously very new to his position and trying to get oriented, and so we agreed that that was something to revisit. Part of the complication, I think, is going to be when you're involved in litigation, you need to be extremely careful to not be doing anything that might be disruptive or potentially create a potential liability in that process. So I would agree that conversation would be in order to perhaps better understand what the long-term interests of the city are. I'm not sure that at this point with active litigation, a council to board conversation is the best venue for that conversation.
And I guess that is kind of the question, is what is the best way to try and understand and to move it forward?
Unfortunately, when you get into litigation, it's usually best handled through the attorneys, which is unfortunate. I had a very general conversation with the city manager. However, being new to Woodinville, perhaps he knows more now, he was really just getting up to speed on sort of the underlying issues and the interests of the council specific to the Wellington property. I certainly shared the perspective of the district around that property. But again, I didn't go any farther than sort of sharing what I perceive the interests of the district to be and our long-term plans for that property. And we stopped well short of talking any specifics about the litigation or making any requests or demands of one another around the litigation. However, I do think there are a wide range of other topics that, similar to the meetings with Kenmore and Bothell, that could be explored with the city council, and perhaps some better relationships and success in those conversations might indirectly positively influence the other issues that are out there.
And to that effect, what's and because the city manager is new, what would be the appropriate, who would be the correct emissary or individual to kind of initiate that? Would that be our board president?
I think it could go through two routes. I think it could be superintendent to city manager. I think it could also be board president to mayor, to suggest that. I have no reason to believe that they wouldn't be open. There are some new members of the Woodville City Council that have already reached out to me on unrelated issues. So I think there's certainly some willingness and some desire there. So I think it could be something that could be explored when time and capacity are such that everybody could focus some attention there.
Well, I'm certainly willing to, as we, in July and August, the board starts planning our year, and it would be a perfect time to, as I mentioned earlier, we're already thinking about meeting in the fall with the city of Bothell. It'd be a perfect opportunity for me to reach out to the mayor of Winneville and see if we can get something on the schedule. I agree that it would be great to be able to start having some dialogue.
And just for our protocol, do you need the board to take action for you to even initiate the conversation with the mayor? I don't know that you do.
Do I see head nods that it would be okay to start talking about scheduling it?
Yeah.
And just a little journey through the way back machine. There used to be joint meetings that included all three of the cities and the school district. Now, in my 8 years in the district, I believe, had two where we got two of the cities in the school district, but we were never able to capture all three again. But that might be something to assess interest from in the other jurisdictions. It's been so much of an issue on our part as perhaps the city's hesitancy or inability to find the right schedule that got all three of them together at the same time.
I actually have a new business item I was going to bring up, and this is related. So Superintendent Francois and myself have been contacted by a resident of Bothell who has interest in setting up a memorial to fallen veterans in Bothell, and perhaps investigating the idea that Pop Keeney might be a good venue for that. And it occurred to me, if the board decided and we were able to move forward with this, if Pop Keeney is the venue, it would be appropriate to honor fallen veterans of all of our municipalities, not just Bothell, on that ground. And so, this is going to be an item on our agenda for next meeting to talk about the board's interest in pursuing this idea. But it occurred to me it might be a great reason to get all three municipalities together so we could talk about honoring the veterans.
So the specific request is to rename Pop Keeney Memorial Stadium, and then to display some kind of remembrance to community members who have given their life in service to their country somewhere there within the grounds of Pop Keeney. And I think it's a fabulous idea. Similar to the Wall of Honor, it's making sure on the front end you get the right partners involved and have sustainability and understand who's committed to doing what over the long haul. But I think it's a wonderful idea if and when the time is right for that.
The board will be receiving materials, not this board briefing, but the next, in preparation for that item. I did have a new business item, so. But I've made a note, Ken, so as part of the annual planning, we'll look about getting a meeting scheduled with the city of Winneville. I think that's a great idea. Okay, any other new business items? Seeing none, we'll go to the next item on the agenda, which is a superintendent search update. So for the audience's benefit, the board began today our interviews of the semifinalists. We identified 6 semifinalists for our next superintendent, and we began that today. We'll be finishing up tomorrow, and then releasing the name of 3 finalists who will come visit us next week and be available for lots of meetings. So that's how we spent this morning. We'll be spending all day tomorrow. So do board members have any other search updates they'd like to present?
Just like to clarify that the candidates will be available for meetings with different entities within the community during the day, take a tour of the city facilities, and then at night it's an open public forum and everyone's invited to come and ask questions to the candidates.
The agenda will be posted,
And
the visit agenda will be posted for public.
So, and I know the stakeholder, we may need to ask Leanna for clarification. I know the stakeholders that have been identified through the process we had to identify qualifications have already been invited. I've heard from several of them actually. But in terms of announcing the public forum in the evening, can you help us with clarification of that?
So the agendas that we looked at and you approved, what we're waiting on is knowing whether you have 2 candidates coming or 3, because that impacts the agenda. So once we know that for sure, we'll push that information out. And right now we're anticipating on Thursday after we know, so it will be pushed out using all district communication channels.
And then tentatively though, it's what, 6 p.m. on Wednesday, June 15th?
Well, 5
It
to
depends.
7, yeah, it depends.
Wednesday, June 15th
Yes.
in the
Either
evening
5 or
evening.
6.
Yeah.
And then the stakeholder groups, we've asked those stakeholders who participated earlier to save the dates. We'll give them the specific time and location once we know if it's 2 candidates or 3.
Any other points for the search update? Great. Next up then is member reports. Director Hayes, would you like to kick us off? Oh wait, I'm sorry, that's the second meeting in a row I've done that. End of your priorities is actually next on the agenda. Does anyone have any questions? If you read the PDF, we're starting to strike things off, which is very, very satisfying, thanks to everyone's hard work. Any board members have any questions or discussion points on that?
I just had a quick question on number 8. It says Northshore Primary Center, and I'm not sure which items were still open on that.
We are working through pretty much all the items on that. So we're working through the facility pieces as far as the ordering, placement of furniture, and arrangements with the church as far as the sharing of the space and kind of the logistics of how that's going to work. We have an administrator for the site, and I believe we're working on the other staff for the site. We'll be moving forward on that. So it's all in process. It's just probably going to be on that list, not crossed out until the first day that the primary center opens.
And that is the first day of class of 2016.
Correct.
Yeah. So that one is
There's an ongoing.
it's an open, but it's a fall opening, not like all the other things that changed in 2017.
No, that is, correct. That is the
To
fall
2016.
opening, and
Okay.
our hope is to, and I think we're pretty much there. I mean, we probably from the standpoint of, are all the trains moving in the right direction by the end of June? Yes, so we probably could put a line through that, but all the trains aren't at their destinations at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Great. Any other question about any of your priorities?
No. Just, I thought I was supposed to talk. I got a little excited.
Now shall I move on to member reports? So, Director Hayes, would you like to start us off?
Okay, rather than talk about what I've done for the last 2 weeks, I would like to instead spend my time thanking Superintendent Francois, since this is his last board meeting and I'm not president and he won't let us do it anywhere else. I have had the privilege of serving with him for the last almost 7 of his 8 years, and as a result, I have firsthand knowledge of what he has brought to Northshore. I have seen the positive impact he has made on our students and the improvement we have seen as a district through his leadership. I speak both as a school board member and as a parent that our students will forever be in your debt. Personally, I will miss your willingness to listen to my many questions, your advice, and that you seem to tolerate my strange sense of humor. I wish you the best of luck in your new position.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
You were next to
So I was able to do the audit committee exit, and the thanks to the business services and all the people who did that. And we had the conversation there. It's great to have the audit completed. I still think there are other things that we can do to enhance our performance in the finance areas, but as the audit in itself was done, it was very good to have that done. And then June 2nd, I had the Super Day with several others, starting with the PTA SA breakfast and many people being acknowledged. I was fortunately seated by our new incoming assistant superintendent for elementary, and we had a wonderful discussion, looking forward to working together and all the excitement that pervades the district as we come into the next year, the transition year, and then the big bang. Also was able to attend the staff retirement in this building, which was really quite amazing to see all the different people in the almost 2,000 years of service. And then that evening was able to attend the Inglemoor High School Grand Pops concert, and what a wonderful event, and seating around tables, and then the orchestra, the strings just surround you when you're right in the middle of it, and about 100 players. It was really quite amazing. The investments that we have made in our music and arts and other programs are really tremendous, and they pay off in many different ways. And then just one other thank you for the, at the end of the last meeting was certainly many things we had to process and make decisions, and we received a very nice item in the board briefing from Assistant Superintendent Miller, and I wanted to say publicly thank you for that, and the guidance and the direction, and the hope to continue to lead through the challenges that we have. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, David?
So also attended the audit report, and we're thrilled to go through that process. That was a great experience. Wednesday, the 1st, attended the Candy Park Junior High Pops concert. 5th graders through junior hires did a great job with band instruments, and thanks to Ms. Osborne for her dedication to the students, and early morning jazz band that she's conducted all year in orchestra. It really was an amazing concert. And then last night on the 6th, attended the Candy Park Junior High Orchestra concert. And again, wanted to thank Ms. Winters and Ms. White for their work with the students. We had amazing performances, again, 4th graders through junior high students. It was a really enjoyable concert. So I wanted to say that. Conclude, Superintendent Francois, I'm wishing you all the best in your next endeavors, and wanted to personally thank you for your support. Being a new board member, there's a lot of learning, and it's a long journey, but I appreciate all the support helping me on this process. Thank you.
And then my only addition, as Larry mentioned, most of the places, and everyone's mentioned most of the places, I've been the only other place that wasn't mentioned I got to, and actually this is on what can deem the Super Day. After the PTSA Connections Luncheon and the Great Retirement Celebration, I went to, because you'll understand this, guys, as a treat to myself, I went to the Woodinville High School Senior Awards Night. And it was always a great event to see children you've known since preschool, and the end of the chain. So I have one note. That's the end of my member report. I have one note from Cindy that if you'd like to attend the Legislative Assembly in Spokane, September 23rd and 24th, Sandy has registered. If anyone else wants to go, please let Cindy know. That's the only note for today. And you'll apologize, I was hesitating to adjourn the meeting since it's Larry's last meeting. I found myself all of a sudden sentimental.
No waiting on my account.
I did. I found
Do a
myself all
filibuster? No, thank you.
I know. All right, so on that note, I will formally adjourn the meeting. Thank you.